Yo, what is up, guys? How are ya? Good evening. We made it through a day. We got hammered a little bit. Well, I don't even want to call it hammered. We got short laddered. We got shorted today, whatever the hell you want to call it. We have witnessed this for 6 straight months with this stock. I don't care if this thing goes to $15, $25, $35. Would we go down to 52 and some change and then ended up at, what, 54 and some change? I didn't pay attention to it. I don't care. I'm in this play until two things happen. Either all of the retail sells and the hedge funds are able to cover, which is not going to happen, as we know. Most of us are holding this stock. I don't care what this last month of FUD is about. I think a lot of the last month of FUD is paid shills, paid bots, whatever you want to call them, and then a combination of newer apes joining the party and not being used to what we were used to the last 4 or 5 months prior to that. I think it's that combination. So to me, like I said, I am not going anywhere until one of those two things happens, until these shorts get covered or all of retail sells it and they're able to cover. Okay? And I know most of you are in that same boat. I got a doozy here today. I'm just not telling you those guys. I found this video from the chairman of Interactive Brokers done about 5 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago, and how they almost went down in the whole GME debacle there at the end of January. Okay, very interesting. And then I also want to touch on too what we as a whole have done, and it started with the legend Mr. Roaring Kitty. We have not talked about him in a while, and I want to touch on that at the very end and show you guys this video. It's pretty crazy, but let's touch on a couple things here too. The news of the day, we got Robinhood again in the news. Old Vlad's phone is taken away. That doesn't sound good to me. By no means am I a detective or anything of that nature, but that doesn't sound good if they're taking a cell phone, right? So, real quick to you guys, last night's video when I shared all the stuff on the bonds, the shorting of the bonds, I think there is something going on there, and it has nothing to do with the guy that did all the DD, did 30 hours worth of DD. And I also heard Jackson Hunter say earlier too that this guy's getting threats. Come on, you guys, really? You know, I'm pretty careful on what I post on here. This guy put in 30 hours, and I can guarantee you this. I don't know the guy. I don't know what he did. I know he spent 30 hours doing this, but I can guarantee you this. By no means is he trying to do anything that is wrong. There might be some mix-up in what exactly is going on with it. We're going to find all of that out, right? So I apologize for posting that. Maybe I jumped the gun a little bit on sharing that information, but still, we don't know the full details, so let's just kind of put that on hold. By no means am I trying to mislead anybody, and I guarantee you that guy is not trying to either. We're all one team here. We get excited. It made a lot of sense. It made a ton of sense to me. So we'll find out exactly what's going on with that. Okay, so let's jump right into it. Oh, gosh, dang it. We got to check. Oh, whoa, it's almost midnight down there, Chicago, Illinois again. Busier than usual. Way to go, boys. This here, too. Did you guys see this? Unusual Whales. I love his Twitter feed, sharing a bunch of stuff. He also, too, I'm going to show you guys this article that he posted, too. If you don't follow this guy on Twitter, you're missing the boat. Really great. But look at this. Breaking news. Robinhood paid former SEC head Dan Gallagher $30 million in 2020. Most of this payment was in stock. Robinhood is just in some deep, deep doo-doo. Let's touch on Vlad here in a minute. And then another stupid Robinhood article. You know, this is all kind of tied together, Robinhood, Citadel, and all that. So I think it's important to talk about all that. And then this here, too. Look at this here, these FTD. Look at this number. June 3rd, 340 million ducats. And if you go back here, these are the FTDs. This is from failedtodeliver.com. But look at the numbers here. If you just back up to April, and then this June, this one, June 3rd. That is a monster number. So let's see what comes of that. Holy coly manolis. This one here. Fed sees Robinhood CEO's phone as part of GameStop trading probe. God, I would not want to be Vlad. What if he just goes in there and they can make a film out of this where he just turns everybody in. Citadel, Kenny Griffin just says, screw it. Goes on the witness protection program. Can you imagine? Because you know, if they're seizing his damn cellular device, something's up. You know, something is definitely up. But just a quick key points in this one here, too. Robinhood CEO Vlad phone was seized by federal attorneys in one of the stock trading app company's many legal battles, it revealed in its IPO filing on Thursday. I think they got, 49 lawsuits or something going, class act. Oh, my God, that's terrible. Peterffy has received requests for information and requests for testimony, and Robinhood said that the incident has resulted in negative media attention and widespread customer dissatisfaction. You think so? Holy moly. The company also acknowledged in its filing with the SEC that has received inquiries related to employee trading. I'll be god darned. I'd hate to be that old. Oh, they poor bastard. You poor bastard. And then another one here. Robinhood says it can assure investors a meme mania won't hit again. Now, what does this mean? Think about it. We cannot assure that similar events will occur in the future, Robinhood said in its S-1 filing to the SEC released Thursday. Robinhood said Thursday that the first time Robinhood restricted trading on its app during the GameStop event earlier this year may not be the last. What, dude? One more thing here. This is just mind-numbing, man. Robinhood is expected to go public on the NASDAQ under ticker HOOD this year. The free trading pioneer. Jesus. Experienced record growth in the past year, resulting in 18 million accounts and 80 billion ducats in customer assets. Boy, I wouldn't be surprised if these poor dudes just go down. I mean, my Lord, what is going to happen here? And then, speaking of, we got old Hedgies over here. Look at the list of these. Real quick, the Citi, Goldman, other banks accused of CDS antitrust scheme, dated today, today's date. A federal antitrust lawsuit claiming B of A, Citigroup Inc., Goldman Sachs Group, and other top financial institutions rigged the credit default swap market by manipulating a key benchmark. And then you got a whole list of other banks in here as well. Look at this here, adding up. By rigging the final auction price used to value the CDS contracts market-wide at settlement, the banks have made billions of dollars in cartel profits at the expense of non-dealer market participants. Eesh, man, it's getting thicker by the day. Now, onto this thing here. Now, we've got the President of the United States. Remember, BlackRock has a gazillion dudes in with the White House too, right? So BlackRock could wipe Citadel off in a blink of the eye. But this here too, oh yeah, let's touch on this really quick. The old unusual whales before we get back to that article. Sorry guys, I meant to pull it up again. Oh, I did. I lost my head. Sorry. Right here. Let's touch on this first, and then we'll get over to the next article. But from Unusual Whales, breaking news. Biden's infrastructure bill is to be approved. I've done a deep dive into how elected officials have traded to benefit directly from the bill, how lobbying has shaped the bill, how politicians have changed the bill for their benefit, right? And then this one here, some key points in this article. President Biden, big crackdown could be bad news for Wall Street titans like Kenny G, assuming the controversial effort even makes it off the ground, okay? On Tuesday, it was reported that President Biden is quietly working on an executive order for crying out loud, intended to take on big businesses and create more competition. The controversial order, which Biden could sign as soon as next week. Oh, right here. Griffin Citadel Securities would likely be a target in the market makers, while BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, Vanguard, and State Street may get a hard look in the asset management space, this person added. Citadel has already been under fire from SEC Chairman Gary G., my boy Gary G., Double G, who has been critical of its influence on $45 trillion U.S. stock market. 45 trillion U.S. stock market. In May, Gensler told Congress that he had directed his staff to review whether new rules were needed to encourage competition among firms like Citadel, which create liquidity for the market by acting as a security wholesaler. Citadel Securities has publicly stated that it executes about 47% of retail volume. Yeah, thanks. And Robinhood. Thank you, guys. In the asset management space, BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street control around $15 trillion, or roughly 3/4 the size of the U.S. economy. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of ducats, isn't it? Also, too, you guys, speaking of all the FUD and the nonsense, and the main thing that's been coming up the last few days is, putting dates on there, or this piece of DD is going to, set off the squeeze. We have no frickin' clue. You've never heard me one time in almost 3 months of being on YouTube. Have I set a date? Have I set a price? I have no idea on those. Anyone telling you that it is crazy, right? What I want you guys to do, if you have time, if you get bored, if you have never been over to Roaring Kitty's YouTube, go back and go, maybe start with his GME coverage, which is, roughly, I think it's about a year ago. But any one of these videos, take a look at what this guy did and his diamond hand. You talk about a king of diamond hands, is this man here. But what I'm getting at with all of this stuff, you guys, is all of us, Ape Nation, GameStop, AMC, I know there's a little battle between AMC and GameStop and people getting pissed off, and it's absolutely asinine. It's so crazy to me. I get the patience. I get all of that stuff. But you guys, I don't think a lot of people really realize all of these changes. This thing's in the frickin' White House. Parts of it, call it what you want, okay? But a lot of madness is going on. We caused all of this. We did. If Roaring Kitty a year ago didn't find GameStop, didn't get over to Reddit, didn't start that whole ape movement in GameStop, and then AMC started in January, there's a very good chance none of this stuff would be happening with the SEC, whatever you want to call it. We have done this, and the only thing we need to do is hold this gosh dang stock. Period. End of story. Wipe out all of the madness, the news, the FUD, the fake BS. This is going to set off the squeeze. Ignore it all. Hold the stock. And I said a few weeks ago, and I know a couple of you guys said, yeah, that's a good idea. Like, not even look at the price anymore. I seriously don't. I know it's the right thing to say, and it sounds good and all that stuff. I don't. I honest to God don't. I have a alert set up for $65. Once it hits over that, then I know to look at it. When I pop in there and look at it throughout the day, all I'm doing is I might look 2 or 3 times, but at the end of the day, I'm going to look at the chart and see exactly what happened. And I already know what's going to happen. We're either ladder down or we're going to go up like we did the last month. So you guys, do yourself a favor and go over here and look at some of these. It's pretty cool to watch these. I've watched a ton of them. I honestly haven't watched them all, but I've watched a lot of these, what he did, and they're super, super cool. It's like a throwback from the beginning of time. Just look at the titles in here and pop on one and listen to them. But it's super cool to watch. And remember, you fast forward a year, whatever you want to call it, when he started figuring out GME was shorted to the gills, right? He popped this whole thing off, and then AMC involved. I'm repeating myself. I'll shut up now. You get the idea, right? But it's pretty super cool. All we got to do is hold the stock. I know it's old. I know it's stupid. I know it's the right thing to say. But it's all we got to do. Right? It's all we got to do. This, you guys, we have to listen to this. I'm going to comment on the end of this because this is I watched this thing twice. I'm about to watch it a third time. Now, this dude, I love this guy. This guy's awesome. The host, I forget his name, but he's pretty cool. He's always shaking his head and go, Jesus Christ, I can't believe these retail people and all that, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, this is the Interactive Brokers chairman, Thomas Peterffy is his name. Just listen to this. This is about the debacle of GameStop end of January when it shot up.
Let's just start with this simple question. How close we were to this system breaking, something failing? How close were we, Thomas?
We were frighteningly close on January 28th when we had 50 million registered shares. At the same time, we had 70 million shares short and 150 million shares short via short call options. So if the call options had been exercised, the shorts would have had to deliver 270 million shares, while only 50 million shares existed. So as the rules are today, the long broker has to, if he can't get the shares, he has to go into the market and buy the shares at whatever the price is. So that could have pushed the price further up into the thousands. When that happens, obviously the shorts cannot pay up. So the brokers they default on the brokers default on the clearinghouse, and the whole thing is a huge mess that's impossible to untangle. So there is a simple solution for this, the way I see it. Number one, we would have to get the short positions published once a day, because we currently have it only twice a month. And second, the SEC would have to require brokers to charge an additional 1% of margin for every 1% of short interest. And that would then raise the margins progressively so high that people would stop shorting stocks.
So margin requirements would have to increase as short interest increases. That seems to be the view from you, Thomas. I'm just wondering, from your perspective, overseeing a broker, is there anything you can do to protect your clients before the SEC or the regulator has to tell you to do it?
Of course we can. That's exactly what we did. We increased our margins. So
why does the regulator need to make that decision on your behalf, Thomas? I'm just speaking out loud with you, thinking out loud, trying to work through this process with you. Why do you need the regulator to make that step?
Well, so first of all, I do not know the short interest daily, and that would be important for me to be able to know how much to increase the margins by. So the regulators could require that the short interest be reported daily. That's very simple. Secondly, the regulators tell us the minimum margin we must charge, and we are free to charge more, and that's exactly what we did. But some brokers may not know how to deal with this. That's why I think it would be good if the SEC required all brokers to charge more on shorts.
Thomas, another issue that came up as well was the conflict of interest issue as well. And I know for you that you have a different model. You're not reliant on payment for order flow in the same way other brokers are. But Thomas, can you speak to that? The explosion of commission-free trading that we've seen over the last several years, and in some parts dependent on the payment for order flow. Can we have one without the other?
Can we have the explosion of interest in trading without payment for order flow?
Can we have the explosion in commission-free trading, or at least the democratization of markets that we have seen over the last several years without the payment for order flow factor in all of this?
But look, I mean, the commission between zero and, for example, we charge less than like $1.95 on the average trade. That difference is almost negligible, right? So the average trade is probably about $40,000-$50,000. So whether you pay zero or you pay $2, that's not much of a difference, right?
So do you think the conflict of interest is not an issue?
No, I don't think so.
Thomas, what would you like to see asked today? And who would you like to see those questions aimed at?
I basically would like to ask the SEC why they didn't act on the morning of January 28th, because I was so scared. I can't tell you how scared I was.
Well, Thomas, what were you scared about? What does failure look like? You said we came close to breaking. What were you scared of? What did you think was going to happen?
I was scared of a domino bankruptcy. I mean, I tell you, the rules require the long brokers to go into the market and buy the shares at whatever price. So that drove the shares up to $480, and then suddenly, I guess, it didn't go further, but it could have gone further. So if the shorts had known, and if the longs had known that they have the right to ask for their shares,
yeah,
and they really wanted a short squeeze, that's what they would have done.
You're not testifying today. Have you spoken to the House Financial Services Committee? Have you spoken to anyone in Washington about these issues?
No, I did not.
Are you looking at reaching out to them?
Well, eventually.
Okay, that's enough. Holy shiitake mushrooms. You imagine if Robinhood didn't stop that stuff? They got to go down for that. I'm telling you, especially listening to this. Did you hear him? A domino bankruptcy, he said. Wow, that was nuts. You guys, I'll pop that back in there if you want to rewind the tape and watch that. That was very crazy. Very crazy. I'm surprised I didn't see that before. Okay, guys, that was a long-ass video. Thanks for sticking around. Sorry it was so long. Go AMC.